you suggest that leaders incorporate a diversity and inclusion focus in their EX strategy?
DEI. So DEI, I think I mentioned just on a pre-chat, Sally, that it is around people saying, I want to be treated as a human being.
Yeah.
At the nutshell of it. I mean, without even, minimizing it or trivializing. I just want to be treated fairly and as a human being. And I want to feel like I'm here, I'm being seen. And therefore, I think one of the things that we need to do in terms of inclusion in the EX strategy is to normalize talking about DEI. There's a bit of a tiptoey, a bit of hush-hush where we don't talk about it. We may announce it, right? And say, these are the big things that we're doing, but being able to just talk about it and not in a conference or in a focus group, but at work, being able to say, hey, this is my perspective and this is how I feel, without any aggression, nothing. And I think for me, that is so key, because the more you talk about it, the more you really get to understand where people are coming from. Before you look at metrics and strategies, and just have a conversation. And that needs to be normalized in business, us to be able to talk about DEI. I think the other thing that is quite key in terms of what do we incorporate in our EX strategy in terms of DEI is we are very good in measuring diversity and equity. There's metrics for that. We haven't honed in the metrics for inclusion. What does it really mean?
Yeah.
What are we measuring when we say inclusion? Is it just the one line survey that says, do you feel included? Or can we find other metrics in the business that we can align to the inclusion metric? So I think that's something that we need to really hone in. The other thing that I think we need to include in terms of DEI in our EX strategy going forward is, again, going back to the hybrid work. I think hybrid work might just open up a can of worms for us when it comes to the steps or strides we've taken forward for DEI, because understanding hybrid work has to go to a granular level to say who prefers to work at home. Who are the employees that prefer to work at home, and who are the employees that are at the office?
And who has the option?
And who has the option?
Yeah.
And then let's now go and look at how are we paying, how are we rating performance, and how are we building rapport, across the organization? Because if I prefer to work at home, or I don't have an option but to be at the office, and that is impacting based on our biases, on how we, the gaps that we've tried to close that pertain to DEI, then we might miss it again. We might need to start again. So very key and imperative that when we're looking at hybrid work, that it is, we look at that DEI metric as part of it. That's my